Scorpio moons have this edge and anger about them, and I feel like oftentimes people walk on eggshells around Scorpio moons because they're scared of them.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think Scorpio moons are scared of themselves. That's why they don't like to feel their feelings. I say this is a Scorpio stellium because they're scared of what might pop up if they were to even open that door.
What's good, y'all? Welcome to our channel. I'm Maya.
And Sarah.
And we are charmed and dangerous.
Because you know we're charming.
And we be dangerous.
And we be charming.
And we be dangerous.
And we be charming.
And we be dangerous.
So when we talk about Scorpio moons,
yes.
they're really dangerous.
They really are.
Beware.
They should come with a warning sign.
No, actually, like, honestly, like, they're definitely going over the 50-pound limit of baggage.
Yes!
And you can't come for me because I'm a Scorpio stellium, but...
Right. Well, let's just get into it. Okay, I feel like I have to continue off of what we were kind of just talking about because being a Scorpio moon really isn't for the week. This placement is in fall, and it's fall, meaning the moon really doesn't like to be in Scorpio. And like the moon wants to normally share how they're feeling, but when it's in Scorpio, it's like, shh, don't tell any of your feels. You know, Scorpio moons like to keep things in and bottled up, and they're very private people, and sometimes it is to their detriment because it burdens them deeply.
It really does.
You know, and there are some hard times with this sign, but we also will talk about some of the positives, and I want to say that contrary to popular belief, there are some positive aspects. So like, don't get all down in the dumps and be like, fuck, I have a Scorpio moon, my life sucks, it's all over. Like, you know, like I hate when some people
Agreed. I mean, like you need, I for example have a Scorpio Venus, and Venus in Scorpio is in detriment. I don't think that's something that I'm ashamed by. I have learned to love my Scorpio Venus and the power that it gives me. So you just really have to understand that even placements that are not in the best position to set you up for success, if they manifest in your birth chart, they can ultimately be the reason that you attain great joy, power, and happiness in this life. As long as you learn to master that part of yourself.
Yes.
And, you know, having a moon in Scorpio is one of the most difficult moon placements to have, like Maya said, because it's in the fall and all the emotion and openness that the moon typically likes to feel and feels comfortable feeling is hindered and kind of punished when it is presented in a Scorpio moon. Yeah. You know, it keeps itself hidden and suppressed when the moon is in Scorpio. Yeah. So it just makes Scorpio moons feel very uncomfortable when it comes to expressing any sort of sensitivity or feeling. And also I feel like the obsessive aspect of Scorpio placements plays a big factor in the way that Scorpio moons learn to express their emotions. You know, they take their time analyzing their deep feelings and have no problem unleashing said feeling once triggered. Yeah. Because they've just had so much time to sit on it. You know, they're fixed water. They're sitting with that feeling. They're sitting with that feeling. And, you know, when they realize like, oh, okay, it's time for me to unleash, it is like a tsunami. You know, so that's why like Scorpio moons have this edge and anger about them, and I feel like oftentimes people walk on eggshells around Scorpio moons because they're scared of them. Yeah. And sometimes I think Scorpio moons are scared of themselves. That's why they don't like to feel their feelings. I say this is a Scorpio stellium because they're scared of what might pop up if they were to even open that door. Yeah. But ultimately, like, you guys need to just realize that you are very powerful. And as long as you learn to channel these very deep, intense, powerful feelings towards something beneficial, towards a creative outlet, you can truly be one of the most powerful people in the world. Scorpio moons are very powerful. They just have a lot of trauma and pain that they're dealing with, and once they overcome that, or at least learn to make friends with their demons, they're really able to go out of their way to manifest their dream life.
No, 100%.
Like, I think of, like, you know what I mean? Like, J-Lo, I think of Beyonce, you know what I mean? There's so many. Kylie Jenner, like, she's such a powerhouse now, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of Scorpio moons that are in positions of power among every industry.
Yes, 100%. And I think that's because Scorpio moons are incredibly resilient and determined people. Like, once they put their mind to something, they can overcome any obstacle. Like, the mental strength is pretty crazy with them. And Scorpio moons, like, I feel they feel a strong sense of, like, purpose. And so they love to, like, complete tasks or, like, reach their goals because, like, it gives them a sense of control over their life, which they love, you know? So it feels like they get to progress. And Scorpio moons, even though life is hard, like, I feel like they feel deep down inside that they know that they're meant to do something, like, they're gonna have an impact in the world, even if no one else believes it. So, like, that's, like, their chip on that shoulder, you know? But they have no problem, like, fighting. Like, they love the fight, and they end up making some really dope shit, you know, because of how resilient they are. And I think it makes sometimes, like, the best story, you know, because it's like, fuck, I fought through this and I came out and look at me now, you know? And that's absolutely, they very much have that energy.
You know, Scorpio, the sign itself is known for being the alchemist of the zodiac. So if you think about a Scorpio moon, you are meant to turn pain into love. You know what I mean? Turn pain into creation. Whatever it may be, like, whatever it is that you're dealing with, you can really come out of it on the other side, being the storyteller and the coach of what it is that you went through. And ultimately, you just feel a lot of shit. Let's be fucking honest.
Yeah.
I get to say this to you as a Scorpio. I do. You feel a lot and you pretend like you don't. You want to come off cool, aloof. You swear you're like Aquarius moon. And Aquarius moon be dealing with a lot too. But the emotions that you feel and how much you pretend like you're cool, calm, and collected, I need you to stop pretending. Because, like, when you're alone is when all of these voices and thoughts and feelings come out. And you feel like it's way too much if you were to share it with someone.
Yeah.
But you need to have people around you that you trust, that you can share these things with. And ultimately just have people around you that are not going to judge you for the level of intensity that you feel. Scorpio ones just generally feel burdened by their feelings, and they suppress them because they associate emotion with weakness, which couldn't be further from the truth. It's crazy because I genuinely feel like all water moons were made to feel. You know what I mean? And those feelings can be a great stepping stone for manifesting, again, your dream life, what it is that you really want. And they just need to get out of their own way. Like, you Scorpio moons need to get out of your own way. It's really gonna be between you and your past, you and your history. Like, are you gonna let that determine where you're going in life? Are you just gonna assume that because of what you've gone through, there's just certain things that you can't get in life? Or are you gonna use those lessons as a stepping stone into getting to where you want faster?
Right. Like,
you know?
Right.
It could be a catalyst for you attaining what you want. Or you could use it as an excuse of, like, well, this is all I had to go through, so you can't expect much from me. Because like, you almost hit a wall of, like, I can't go past this because it's me and all my demons. You know what I mean? And we all can't get into the club. And it's like, well, maybe you should drop some of them off somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like, you be carrying that baggage, like it needs to go with you everywhere, and it doesn't.
It really doesn't.
Let it stay its ass at home.
No.
You know what I mean?
For real. Sometimes Scorpio moons, like, they kind of kill me because, like, they have this, they're such strong manifestors. You know what I mean? So sometimes they have these, like, self-fulfilling prophecies of negativity because they can be so paranoid, because they can be so distrustful of other people. Like, they'll be like, oh, you're gonna do this to me, you're gonna do this to me. And, like, actually, it's a Scorpio moon treating the other person poorly, and then finally the other person is like, I'm fed up with it. And then the Scorpio moon is like, I knew it. You always were waiting to do this.
The emotional games of like trying to see if the person is worth it, putting them through another test, another trial, another tribulation.
Right.
To see if they're worth it, to see if they really are going to stick by you through the ugly. And it's like, let the ugly come out naturally. I feel like sometimes Scorpio moons, like, they want to get super angry and they want to almost show their most triggered self to people that they care about often, so the other person has an opportunity to walk away. So then Scorpio moon can be like, see, I told you, I knew you were gonna walk away.
Right.
And it's like, well, dude, like, like, listen, like, unconditional love is real, but also at some point you need to take accountability for you. Like, yes, trauma explains your behavior, but it doesn't excuse it. Exactly. And that's what Scorpio Moon needs to understand. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yes, it's like I feel like sometimes they constantly live in this, like, fight space.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
And it's like you need to release that energy, like you were saying earlier. Otherwise, it will end all of your relationships. Like, romantic, friendship, you know, family. Like, if you keep letting these inner demons, like, overpower...
Yeah.
You know, and you have them, and it's fair. Like, they can be there, but you have to learn how to release that anger and resentment to move on.
Yeah, I believe the term for it is called the reptilian brain. Like, that's when you're operating from your most triggered state. And, you know, like, when you're throwing a full-ass tantrum as, like, a 30-year-old, but you feel like you're 5 years old again. Like, I feel like a lot of Scorpio moons, when they get triggered, that part of them comes out. And, again... I'm going to emphasize on the fact that Scorpio moons have not had the easiest childhood compared to a lot of other moon signs. They probably had some of the hardest, worst childhood. So because of that, again, I feel like they feel justified. And I get it. I get it. As a Capricorn rising, as a Scorpio stellium, I get it. Like, your childhood, if it was rough, you sometimes feel like everything is against you. And you weren't given the right tools to be able to live a healthy life as an adult. But you get to find those tools. You get to learn how to use those tools as you're growing up. And you get to surround yourself with people that you wanted when you were 5, you know, when you were 10 years old. When you get older, you get to decide who gets to be around you. Yeah. And that's what I want Scorpio moons to remember. Like, you get to create a peaceful space for yourself. Even if you went through some dark shit when you were young. Right. You know? And they just are they're extremely intense and will honestly drown anyone if they don't have a strong backbone. Yeah. So that's what I want people to understand about Scorpio moons. You're like, oh, I'm dealing with this intense Scorpio moon. Do you have a backbone? Can you speak up for yourself? You know what I mean? Because if you can't, you're going to get bulldozed over and you're going to become a baby back bitch.
She said no lie here. They will eat you up. Yeah. They will eat you alive. No problem. And drink your tears.
No, for real. I have a couple of Scorpio moons. One in the family. I have a friend. And I genuinely feel like they know that I'm not the one. But like when we talk and we talk about deep shit, like I just get them. But I see how they interact with other people, and I'm like, yeah, you don't ever talk to me like that, because you know better. Right! But damn.
For sure. No, I see that. One of my best friends is a Scorpio moon, and I see the way she talks to some other people. I'm like, ooh, wow, I know how she feels about you, really. Wow. Wild. Literally. Actually, it's one of my favorite... Right. It's one of my favorite things to say about all of really Scorpio energy is that y'all can be like the sweetest bitches like you've ever met, you know, because they can be very, very cruel and they know how to cut you with their words because they're very observant, you know, they know how to cut you with their words. They can make a clown out of you, again, because of their super observantness. And also they know how to say really sweet things to you sometimes too, so that's where the sweetest comes in because they're, again, attention to detail, the love that they feel for you, you can tell that they really mean what they're sharing.
Like, what do you want? Do you want me to empower you or destroy you? Yeah. It's never anything in the middle.
Nope. One or the other. Yeah. One or the other. And, okay, I'm so happy that obviously we had to touch on the fact that Scorpio moons had a tough childhood. I feel like they grew up around a lot of secrets as a child, and that force them to learn to like read in between the lines very well. So like I was saying earlier, they can spot things like no other, you know, like that's why they can tell when somebody's being deceptive or like being a liar because they learn to assume like adults' instincts around them because they weren't always being forthcoming with them, right? So childhood was probably absolutely chaotic for you and you didn't get the support you needed, like you said. And I feel like they were taught to put other people's feelings before theirs, and they probably had to like maybe become a parent type of situation, you know? And that just puts a lot of stress on you at a very young age. Yeah, and I feel that, you know, Scorpio moons now, they need to be around people who allow them to fully express their emotions. You know, even when it gets really scary and they're yelling at you and saying you ain't shit or whatever, like, you still need to kind of be there for them, because, like, they never really had the space to do that as a kid, you know? And obviously, like, we're going to talk about it the next day, but, or even right then, like, you can't speak to me like that, but they need a space to do that, actually, you know? And that's when they feel the safest, like, is when they're kind of blowing up on you, really.
Yeah.
Because they feel comfortable enough to share everything that's going on. Because normally, like you were saying in the beginning, they kind of want to keep it cool and act like, you know, feelings are good over here.
Yeah. No, truly. Scorpio moons, like we talked about, not a hot take, have had, really intense childhoods. And I feel like they have just understood death, pain, and power from a very young age. Like, those three things, they're always seeing it in the dynamic of their family. This can either manifest as them when they're adults, to use their power to punish the people around them as they grow older, or, you know, just feel justified to use people. To use people instead of actually opening up to them. You know what I mean? Because guess what? When you make real connections, people just do things for you because they love you. You know what I mean? But I feel like because Scorpio can be so powerful, they can, like, emotionally manipulate people to be their bitch.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
For sure.
Exactly. And again, they justify it because of their upbringing. They don't think they're doing anything wrong, because that is the power dynamic that they were exposed to growing up. You know? So they almost feel like that's just the law of the world. That's how it goes. You know what I mean? Natural selection. You better be strong, or you know what I mean? Or you're gonna get beat up. You know what I mean? You're gonna, you know, people are gonna think you're stupid.
Right.
Or the other direction that they can go is that they can become very, very interested and obsessed with the occult, aka spirituality, and they will learn how to transmute their pain into healing energy, and will gain happiness, you know, through counseling others and helping them understand their pain. Believed that if you are able to talk to someone about something that you've gone through, and you're trying to tell them about what you went through to help them, like, you're almost releasing the pain that you're holding on to, even if it's something that you've healed from. Every time you talk about your past experience in the hopes that it helps someone, you're also healing yourself. So I feel like when Scorpio moons get to that point where they're so open emotionally, and they're vulnerable, and they're helping others through that vulnerability, they're also healing themselves. So that's why I say when they very much get into the occult, spirituality, religion, whatever it is for you, that's when they really start becoming this healed version of themselves, because they realize that, oh shit, like, I went through so much. If I can use that to help other people, I feel like it was worth it. You know, because they're such emotional signs, such emotional creatures. They're babies. Scorpio moons, you guys, everything we talked about, they're so intense, they're so scary, walk on eggshells. They're tender people. They just truly want to be accepted, and they don't want to be taken advantage of. Like, basic needs, people. But because they didn't experience that as a child, they're super jaded as adults. So they just need to have the right environment and the right people around them to make them feel safe, to start using that healing energy to save the world. Not to be dramatic.
No, but truly, you're so right, because when I think about Scorpio moons and when I've seen them being at their best, and, like, their best, you know, for me, like, how they've shown up for me as friends and, like, lovers, is, like, when I'm going through some tough shit, and how they're able to help process for me, heal me, and I feel like, to protect me in that time. Like, the way that they come through with such, like, strength, like, nobody's gonna fuck with you. Like, do you want this person to come talk to you today? No, then you better back the fuck up, you know? Like, the way that they go hard and is, like, they're protecting your feelings is just so beautiful. You know, like, it just makes you feel so safe.
It does. And you think about it, Mars, you know, Scorpio is ruled by Mars, and Mars is all about that fight, especially in Scorpio versus Aries. Scorpio is that internal energy of Mars. So Scorpio moon, protective of their feelings, protective of the feelings of the people that they love.
Yes.
So they do understand that feelings are tender and soft, and like that's why they're so protective over it.
Yeah.
You know? So I understand.
I do too.
Yeah.
And it's like they don't want all of their amazing energy to be, you know, shared with just anybody either. And I think that's also something that's really special. Scorpio's love is like, you know that it's special and like just for you. You know, like it's very intense, it's very passionate, and that's when all of like their best colors truly come out. You know, is when actually they're like in love and getting to share that love with other people. It's very beautiful.
Yeah, I agree. Alright, Charmers, thank you for kicking it with your girls while we talk about Scorpio moons. Happy Scorpio season. Are you a Scorpio moon? Did we trigger you? Are you gonna come for us? I don't think you will though. We love you. If you resonated with any of the points that we talked about, don't forget to comment down below. Let us know of your experiences with Scorpio moons. We want to hear it all.
Yes.
We're gonna link our socials somewhere over here. We love you guys, and we'll see you next week. Bye.